Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss about cable, and this video is part 2 of cable because in last video we have discussed several technical part of the cables. So let's discuss about fire resistance and flame retardant or fire retardant cable. Fire resistance cable are the cable used in power control, emergency signal, and shall be fire resistant to ensure higher safety to the performance in event of fire. That means fire cable can operate and not burn in case of fire without melting. It will resist high temperatures and prevent itself from burning. Typically, it can survive up to 300 degrees centigrade temperature. The outer sheath color is red. So basically, if you will see the red color cable in plant, then you can understand this is the fire resistance cable. Second is flame retardant cable. Normally this cable is either of gray color or black color. So this cable is one that will continue to operate in case of fire, but it will burn slowly and prevent the fire from spreading by reducing the amount of heat released from a fire. So basically it will not spread the fire to other area, so that it is called flame retardant cable. So the benefits of this cable is this cable either self distinguish themselves or burn slowly, thus preventing the fire from spreading to other area. These cables operate under IEC 60332, BSEN 60332 and EN 50265 and BS 4066 standard. Typical construction is for conductor is aniline, plain and tin copper aluminum for IES and IEC and BS standards. Insulation for this cable is EPR or XLPE or silicon rubber that can operate in higher temperature. Inner sheath is FRLS and LSZH. Armoring is as per IS 3975 and British Standards 7846. Outer sheath is also of FRLS, PVCS2 and LSZH. This is the table about different types of cable like PVC cable, XLPE cable with low emissions or low smoke, zero halogen, and limited circuit integrity, reduced halogen contents like FRLS and FS cable, and FS and LSOH cable. So these different types of cable, it's have different property like flame retardant, low smoke and reduced halogen, this is called FRLS, and flame retardant, low smoke and acid gas emissions, and fire resistance, fire survivable, flame retardant, low smoke, FRLS-H and reduced halogen cables. Similarly, there is another characteristics of fire resistance and fire survivable, flame retardant, low smoke and zero halogen cables. So these are the characteristics of these types of cable, and the application is also mentioned here. So basically, whenever you are going to select any PVC cable or XLPE cable for the purpose of fire resistance or flame retardant, these are the application and the applicable standards are mentioned here. So this table will help you to prepare the technical specification of cable in hazardous areas. Fire resistance and fire retardant cables have different properties like its oxygen index, temperature index, smoke density rating, halogen acid gas generations, toxicity index, corrosive gases, flame test on single cable, and fire test on bunch cable, and applicable symbol. So these are the properties of fire resistance and fire retardant cable, and the applicable standards for particular properties is mentioned here in the table. So similarly, if you will see this cable property and its standard, with respect to flame retardant and FRLS and ZHLS cable. So you can see what are the applicable and limitations of these different types of properties of FRLS, FR and ZHLS cables. Some important standards for flame retardant cable is IEC 60332-1 and -3. For low emission of dark fumes is ASTM D2843. Halogen free cables have the specification of IEC 60754-1, and low toxicity and corrosivity of emitted gases is IEC 60754-2. Electrical and physical property of cables. So this table is very important as point of view whenever you want to prepare the technical data sheets of cable, or you are selecting the cable, sizing the cable as well. So start from the right hand side table. These tables have electrical property of any cable. First of all, it's conductor resistance, mutual capacitance, LR ratio, insulation resistance, and test voltage for core to core or core to shield. So basically this electrical property is very important and you need to show in your technical specification as well. For example, if you talk about the conductor resistance, so you know that for different conductor material have different types of different rating of resistance, and due to the resistance there will be the voltage drop inside the cable. So in industrial use we do not want more voltage drop, because if you are transferring the signal from the instrument toward the control room, then the voltage drop can affect the signal intensity or signal level. So that the voltage drop is a very important factor for the cable in instrumentation. So generally in industry we are using the copper cable, because copper cables have low resistance as compared to other cable like aluminum cables. So this is the copper cable is most widely used conductor material in process industries or oil and gas industries. But the copper itself, for different sizes of copper cable, there is a different rating of resistance. So you can see there is a conductor size in AWG. In previous video you can see the information about AWG through converter. So you can understand for 12, what is the size of 12 AWG and what is the size of 14, 16, 18, like that. So you can convert it. So here we will discuss about conductor size in AWG. So with respect to AWG, if you see for the 12 AWG, the conductor resistance for plain copper is 5.63 ohm resistance per kilometer, and the tinned copper is 5.83 ohm per kilometers. That means plain copper resistance is low as per the tinned copper, first of all. Second things, if you increase the AWG size of conductor, then simultaneously the conductor resistance is also increased. That means we cannot go very high AWG, because it will increase the resistance. So if resistance will be increased, then the voltage drop will be more. So we want to reduce the voltage drop, then we need to select the proper resistance of the cable. So that is the calculation formula. V is equal to IR. You can calculate the voltage drop, so you can understand. So basically this voltage drop is totally depend on the conductor resistance and the distance of wire. So as long as distance, the voltage drop will be more. So we need to think, we are considering that particular cable, how much distance from the instrument to the control room. Based on that we need to select. If we talk about the general philosophy about the selection of cable size, conductor size, then normally 0.75 mm square or 1 mm square cables, copper cables are used in process and oil and gas industries. For control cable, we use 1.5 mm square cable of copper conductor. So this is the most widely or general sizes of cable used in industry, and you can increase or decrease as per the client recommendations or as per the distance, but these are the most common sizes are used. So this cable table will help you to understand and will help you to prepare the technical data sheets of cables. And the left side table each provide the details about different sizes of the cable with respect to its outer diameter, inner sheath diameter, and diameter below armoring, diameter above armoring, and overall nominal diameter, its total weight per kilometer. So these types of details it will provide. So these types of table is very important whenever you will do the work on the cable tray, because for the cable tray loading, the weight of the cable is very important, outer diameter is very important, and sometimes you need to prepare the MCT, multi cable transit. So for the selection sizing of multi cable transit, you need the outer diameter of the cable as well. So this table will help you to understand the overall diameter, the length of the cable, and the other parameter which is required for the detail engineering. So these types of cable you will receive from that particular vendor from that you are purchasing the cable. This is the general table I am showing you, but this is not the final. It can differ for vendor to vendor. Means slightly data can change from one vendor to one vendor, because the insulation thickness and the cable construction type will be differ for vendor to vendor. So these types of cables, so this is the general working philosophy. Whenever you will start working on the cable specification, just go through the catalog of that bidders that you are working for, and you can see how they are classifying the cable sizes with respect to its outer diameter, with respect to its inner diameter, with respect to its weight. So these types of information will help you. Now the technical data sheets. You can see this is the technical data sheets of cable, and this is the example of 1 pair and 16 pair cable. So these data sheets is provide the information about 1 pair cable and 16 pair cable. So the left side, this information is our requirement as per our project requirement, and this is the information about 1 pair cable that is we want to purchase from any particular vendor, or that is we are going to work for the bidding process. So this is the 1 pair and this is the 16 pair. So see, there are different types of cables as per the number of pairs, and types of pairs will be there in plant, like 1 pair, 2 pair, 4 pair, means single pair and multi pair. So it can be 8 pair, 12 pair, 16 pair, 24 pair, 36 pair. These types of multi pair can be used based on the junction boxes sizes as per the number of instrument at particular area and the total number of instrument in that particular area. So by this way we do the junction box grouping. So we select the junction boxes sizes, or there will be some philosophy of selecting the junction box sizes. So based on the junction box sizes, there will be multi-pair cables. So here we are working for 16 pair multi-pair cable. That means we are using the 16 pair junction boxes. Means in one junction box we can connect maximum 16 number of instrument with one multi-pair cable. So basically this specification is showing the details for 1 pair as well as 16 multi-pair cable specification. Similarly, you need to prepare for other types of cable like 2 core, 4 core or other multi-core cables. Similarly, one triad or other multi-triad cable, and also some informations for the thermocouple cable, about the uh, earthing cable. So these types of cable also you need to include within this technical data sheet. You need to prepare uh, all the details in one technical specification, and with quantity of each types of cables you can uh, make these specifications for other bidding process, or working for the taking technical quotation from vendor, reviewing it for other engineering processes. So here the some information I can show you that should be in your technical data sheets, like general informations, conductor informations, construction of conductor, and the insulation informations, testing, what are testing you need to ask for the vendor, and cable related informations like its size, its overall diameter, its diameter below armoring. So these types of information you need to ask from the vendor. So basically few things will be changed, otherwise maximum things will be same for 1 pair and 16 pair. Similarly for other types of cable also. So first of all, types of cables means you are using this cable for instrument signaling, or you are using for control purpose, or you are using for power purpose. So these types of purpose will be there, and that purpose will define the types of cable. Similarly, if you are using thermocouple cable, then you need to mention here thermocouple extension or thermocouple cable. Again, the number of pairs, because for single pair you can mention the one pair, and for multi pair as per the requirement multi pair you can mention. So here is the 16 pair is multi pair. Again, voltage grading for instrumentations or signaling cable, the voltage grading is 300/500 volt. It's normal, and the twisting is 10 twist per meter. Normally we are using, an overlaying is required. The overlaying will protect your cable, so that's why we require the overlaying. Area of classification as per the project requirement. So as per your project there will be different area classification if you are using the international European standard or American standard. So based on that you need to put the area classification. Again, the shielding informations. So you want a shielding with one pair or not, you want shielding with 16 pair or not. So for one pair cable there will be only one shielding, but for 16 pair multi pair cables there can be two shielding. One is for individual pair and second one is for overall shielding. Again, the types of screening is 100% coverage with 25% overlapping. So basically screening is most important for protection of cable from fire. So 100% screening is most required, and for the protection, and it will be 20% overlap for each rounded. Again, the construction of the conductor or its conductor information. So which types of conductor you are using, and what are the standards, like we are using the tin copper standard and electrolytic grade aniline, and the standard is as per IS 8130, and the construction is stranded 7 strand with 0.43 mm dia. As I explained you about the construction of conductor, there is different types of constructions like stranded type and solid conductor, but in industry, in process industry, we use stranded cable only. The conductor cross sections area is 1 mm square. You can consider the 0.75 as well. If the distance is less, means there is no more voltage drop with respect to your requirement, because any instrument is operate for different voltage level. Like if your instrument is operate from 12 to 18 voltage, then the voltage drop not much means affect the this instrument working, because 1 or 2 volt drop is very high. That means it's very rare that your voltage drop is 10 volt, right? So it is very normal that 1 mm square is more than sufficient, or 7.75 mm square cable is more than sufficient in field instrumentation. Again, the conductor for the insulation standard is PVC insulation. Conductor insulation is PVC insulations, and 85 degrees centigrade as per IS, and 5831 and 1994. And the insulation color is blue color, white for each core. So basically inside the core the color is white, but if you see the outer color of the insulation, then it will be blue. Construction of inner sheath, its color is PVC types, 90 degrees centigrade per IS, 5831 black color, and outer sheath is FRLS PVC type, ST2 90 degrees centigrade as per IS 5831. So drain wire material is tin copper standard 0.3 mm dia. Communication wire or color as per your requirement. Generally we not recommend in single pair, but we recommend in multi-pair cable. Construction of cable. So about the construction of cables, we have already discussed in previous lectures of cables. Like there is different layer of cable, like its conductor, and then insulation, then its screening, then armoring. So different types of layering is there, as already we have discussed in details. So that construction details we need to put in technical data sheet, so that vendor can understand the your requirement properly. So inner sheath material and color coding we need to put. So PVC type and the color is black. Similarly, outer sheath material is PVC FRLS and the color is blue, and standard also we need to put it. Then drain wire and material, so tin copper and standard 0.3 mm diameter. This is for single pair, and same is for the multi-pair cable. Communication wire is required for the multi-pair cable only. For single pair we did never use. And for RIP cord it is required below inner sheath, and the armoring type we need to specify. So basically, as already we have discussed about armor, two types of armoring are there. One is RIP metallic strip, and second is for round wire armoring. We prefer round wire armoring because the bending of the cable is very easy for the round wire. However, for strip types of cable, bending is quite difficult because its bending radius requirement is more, so that we prefer the round wire armoring. Again, the core identification and numbering is not required for single pair, but for multi-pair it is required. For cable insulation types, it is FRLS as per the IS 5831 for single pair as well as multi-pair cable. Again, the testing of the cables. So there are so many types of testings are available for the cable to ensuring that cables will work properly and it will not damage in at the plant with slightly bending or some other accidental conditions. So it's a electrical parameters, and like it's a core to core mutual capacitance, conductor resistance, LR ratio, inductance. These types of informations we need to put what is the minimum requirement, and the HV test as per the BS 5308-2, core to core, core to shield, and armor to shield. So it's voltage rating 1000 volt AC for 1 minute, and shield to shield basically not applicable, not required, and spark test is always required as per BS 5308 part 2. So these types of details we need to put in data sheet, so that vendor will provide this type of testing. Normally vendor do these types of testing, but For ensuring, we need to put in our data sheet and we need to take the confirmation from vendor as well. Oxygen index is, as per we have seen the previous tables, we provide the oxygen index, temperature index, acid gas emissions and smoke index. So these types of details we need to put and we need to ask from the vendor also. Again, the cable sizes details like its overall diameter, in its diameter below armoring, diameter above armoring. These details vendor will provide, and the net weight of cable per kilometer, drum length, make and model, and tolerance. So basically tolerance always we put in plus, never mention in minus, because we always required cable more than the mentioned length. Basically we cannot go with the less. So total quantity we can count, we can calculate from the projects and we can put here. So I will explain you in different video how to calculate the total length of the cable. However, I have explained some information or some details about cabling in cable schedule, but again whenever we will do the cable tray layout, then we will discuss how we can calculate the total cable length. So similarly, we can prepare the technical data sheet for other cables also, like one triad, multi-triad, two core, multi-core, and the earthing cable as well, and the thermocouple cable as well. Triad cable is used for RTD and thermocouple is for thermocouple, and other types of core cable is also required in the plant. Next is thermocouple cable. As you can see, there is a different types of thermocouples available. So we required the thermocouple cable with respect to the thermocouple we used. There are K type, T type, J, E, R, S, B types of thermocouple. So these thermocouples have two legs, one is positive leg and second is negative leg. So this is the thermocouple. You are very well aware about the thermocouple working philosophies. Basically there are two dissimilar metal joined with together to form two junctions. One is hot junction and second is cold junctions. So this extension or compensating cable is known as thermocouple cable. So from sensor to transmitter we require this compensating cable. So selection of this compensating cable totally depend on the types of thermocouple. So here the material is also mentioned for different types of thermocouple and its normal EMF and the recommended working temperature mentioned and the remark. So use this table so you can understand what are the positive leg of the cables and negative leg of the cables will be there. Similarly, thermocouple cables have different color coding with respect to different standards, and you can see the thermocouple type and its extension leg and the compensating cable and its positive leg material and negative leg material, and its tolerance also mentioned here. The color coding is depend on the different standards. RTD cable. RTD is also temperature element. So triad cable we use for RTD. 3-wire triad cable we use from RTD sensor to the temperature transmitter. So right side you can see this is the RTD cable having white, red, 3-wire. Sometimes red, yellow 3-wire we can use. And this is the construction of the cable. So this is the RTD head, and inside this RTD housing, this is the RTD head. There is the terminations mentioned here. So this is the specification of RTD cables, like it's a 3-wire RTD cable, conductor material silver, plated copper wire. Temperature range is for PVC, PFA, glass fiber different, and the coil length is 25, 50 or 100. Conductor size is 7 standard 0.25 mm. Color is 2 red and 1 white, but color coding can be different. Material is PVC, PFA and glass fiber insulation. So RTD cable is used for from RTD sensor to temperature transmitter. From the transmitter normally one pair cable we go towards the control room, but for the sensor, RTD sensor to the temperature transmitter, we use triad cable because we are using this 3-wire RTD. If you are using the 4-wire RTD, then you need 2 pair cable If you are using the 2-wire RTD, then you can use the 1-pair cable, but in generally we use the 3-wire RTD in industry, so we can use the 1-triad cable. Communications cables also used in our industries or in our plant, but we generally not need to prepare the technical specification for the communications cable. There are different types of communications cable available, like Modbus cable, Ethernet cable, LAN cable, optical fiber cable, but these are the fixed standard cables, so we not need to provide the technical specification to vendor, but we can ask the types of cable and its length, so vendor can provide easily. But if still vendor want the specification, then we can prepare. So if you need the technical specification of communication cable, then put in the comment box, I will prepare for you. Installation handling of cable, this is very important details, because during working in detail engineering or preparing the cable tray layout, you need to put the cable inside the cable tray, and you need to put the cable tray with the separation with electrical cable tray, because the electrical interference can be there over there in the signal cables. So your signals, it can be different, or you can say it can be deviate from its range. So to avoid these kinds of signal distortions, we need to consider some separations of instrument cable and electrical cable, so that we need to have a particular separations between cable tray of instrumentation and electrical. So if there is a parallel or nearby electrical cable tray having cable of up to 125 volt AC, then the separations between electrical cable tray and instrument cable tray will be 300 mm. If the voltage rating increase from 140 to 380 volt AC, then the minimum separations will be 500. For 440 to 500 volt AC, the separations will be 600 minimum, and for ST cables, minimum separations will be 1 meter. The instrument cable bending radius, it is also very important. As per the general philosophy, we can consider the 6 times of cable overall diameter, the bending radius. Like if your bending radius is 2 inch, then you need to consider the or if overall diameter is 2 inch, then bending radius will be 6 into 2 inch equal to 12 inch bending diameter. Yes, bending radius is there. But here is the table which provide you the details about different types of cables and its bending radius. So you can see PVC insulated power cable have single core if the bending radius is less than 25 mm or equal to, if this is the size of the core cable and this is the size, so with respect to the size, the bending radius is 60 and 10D during the installation. And the multi-core cables, if it is greater than 25 mm cable and or less than 25, then the bending radius is 10D during the installation. So these types of details for different types of cable and its bending radius requirement, so that your cable will not damage and you can easily bend it towards the root. So this bending radius and separations is most important for the cable laying or cable tray installations. Reputed manufacturer and supplier. These are some reputed manufacturer or worldwide supplier of the cable, like KEC, KEI, Annixter, Polycab, Elan, the Renault company, and Ecabel. So these types of manufacturer are there. You can reach out to them for the cable ordering or the cable quotations. So this is all about cable.